Here behind me is where a scam call turned deadly, and I'm going to step out of the way here so you can get a look here. The man who lives here is accused of shooting and killing an Uber driver. He now faces a murder charge and potential other charges. According to reports, authorities say William Brock had been receiving multiple threatening scam calls the morning of March 25th. The calls were concerning an incarcerated relative, and Brock was told to meet at the courthouse to pay a ransom of $12,000 in bail money, or they would kill him and his relative. Around the same time of the call, Lolitha Hall received directions from the same person or an accomplice, instructing her to go to Brock's home to pick up a package for delivery. Dashcam video from Hall's car shows her arrive to Brock's home to pick up that package. According to reports from the Clark County Sheriff's Office, Brock allegedly had a gun. This video appears to confirm that. The incident report says Brock allegedly took Hall's phone and wouldn't let her leave, and when she tried to go, authorities say Brock then shot Hall. They started fighting, and he shot her 2 more times. Authorities received a call from Brock saying he had shot someone on his property because they were trying to rob him. When units arrived, they found Hall with multiple gunshot wounds, and Brock was bleeding from his head. Hall was flown to Kettering Hospital in Dayton, where she died. Reports say while officials were on scene, Brock's landline phone kept ringing, and when one officer picked it up, the man on the other line said he was an officer. And the real officer explained what happened and asked the caller to meet. And he agreed, but never showed up. We reached out to Uber, and they responded with this statement saying in part, quote, "There is no other way to describe this incident than a horrific tragedy. Our hearts continue to be with Lolitha's loved ones as they grieve her sudden loss. We have been in contact with law enforcement and remain committed to supporting their investigation." End quote. Uber also went on to say the account of the individual who ordered the Uber trip has been banned. The sheriff's office is also reminding residents to be extra cautious and that no law enforcement agency or court will call you and demand for bail money over the phone. That goes for any other court functions as well. Reporting in Springfield, Grace Hewitt, 2 News.
It's unfortunate that this lady lost her life over just trying to do her job, but it also speaks to a lot of other things. One of them being that it's not safe out here for most people, let alone women. And because people are under duress and they don't have resources and inflation is high and people are trying to earn extra money any way that they can, they wind up taking a lot of these jobs, these gig jobs, but then at the same time, they're unaware of the danger that's presented to them or the situation that they put themselves in. If you can look at the video, like she's clearly limping. You can tell that she's probably not in the best health. She's an older woman, and then now she's lost her life, which I think that the family is probably going to try to get some money and some compensation from Uber or whatever like that in order to justify. And nothing can justify, nothing can rectify any of the the fact that she lost her life or anything like that. But, it's going to be some lawsuits and it's going to be some accountability being held on the part of the company. But the unfortunate part is this. 2 things. Number one, it's a possibility that they'll never, ever find the person that actually set her up. And it was all over $12,000. $12,000. Next thing you know, somebody is losing their life and you'll never be able to get that back. And they had this elaborate scam, and the scams is getting more elaborate. That's the biggest thing, is the scams is getting more elaborate. And I'm gonna get over to the liability from the guy in a second, but the scams are getting more elaborate to where they're now leveraging apps and also scamming older people in order to really, really be able to finesse y'all. Now, she lost her life. He's probably gonna be locked up for the rest of whatever life he has left. And the scammers is never, ever going to be caught because they're able to use technology in order to prevent themselves from ever even being caught in the first place. Uber said that they banned the account. It's so easy to make up a fake account, with a fake number and all of that stuff. And they so brazen that they went and found out what was happening. They probably watched this whole article on the news or on YouTube, just like the rest of us. The other part of it is that, what responsibility does he bear? Right? What responsibility does the man bear from trying to protect himself and protect his property and protect his resources? And then probably some people's eyes was trying to do the right thing and preventing scammers from being able to take advantage of him because he's old, he's senile, and he doesn't know what the heck is going on with him either. But that doesn't absolve you from the responsibility because, listen, she never showed a gun. She never showed that she was ever a threat. It was clear that she was older. And whatever it was that he thought that he was doing from a vigilante perspective wind up backfiring in his face because he couldn't wait to be overzealous and be the hero. And now he got a murder charge on his rap. So he absolutely, positively should be held accountable for taking this woman's life because it was never in the cards for her to be posing a threat to him, and he should have never, ever been that overzealous with the gun. But it's another part of this conversation that we're not having. Even though he should be held responsible, he didn't know either because he got scammed in the same way that she got scammed in this elaborate plot to get $12,000 from two old people that don't even know anything about technology. That's the gist of it, is that he could have been living his own life. She could have been living her own life. But instead, the real culprit and the real people that should be charged to the fullest extent of the law, not just with fraud, but scammers. And that's really the thing that we need to be deploying more technology into, because they're leveraging technology to the fullest extent. But our legislative branches and our police officers and the judicial system and the federal government to an extent is very, very slow, because I don't think that they value the life, nor do they really care about what's really happening out here in the streets. It's only based off of what the presentation layer is. And the reality is this, is that the scammers and the people that finesse should be the ones that's held responsible. Also, in addition to the fact that these people was operating out of ignorance. She was ignorant into what she was supposed to be going to pick up, because you can go on these applications on Uber and order pickup or packages or whatever it is that you want to do, because they expanded their platform. He was ignorant because he didn't know that he was getting finessed, and he just seen a woman from coming to pick up a package, and he don't know that she don't know what was going on. And so he wound up taking her life, and he should be held responsible. And then the only people that really get scot-free is the people that set the whole thing up in the first place. And they probably never going to be held accountable because they behind, several different pieces of technology that prevent them from even being held accountable. Who's to even say that they even here in the United States of America? Who's to say it? Uber probably going to be held accountable by the family and having to pay a lawsuit. And they probably going to pay out because they don't want to risk the possibility of, ever having to get a real big statement. So they'll probably settle with the family. But the woman will never come back, and so the family will never have their loved one back, and her life was robbed and taken from her, and because she wasn't safe out here in this world that not only deploys technology, but you're going to run into the house of a white man that come out with a gun and is going to take her life, even though she's just trying to get away, and she can't even go far. She limping. He's senile, he old. Police officer realize it is what it is, but somebody got to be held accountable, and people want blood. And nobody is looking to understand. Everybody is just looking to have a conversation based off of who should be held accountable, and nobody is even talking about the scammers. It's unfortunate. I'm curious as to what you guys think. I'll go into a lot more of these things inside of the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure y'all tap into the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to everybody that tapped into the live stream last night on this channel. And then we got After Hours tonight on the After Hours channel. Make sure you subscribe to all three platforms and then turn on your notifications. Also tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But I want to know what y'all thoughts are. I'm curious as to what y'all think about this whole situation. Who should be held accountable? Where is it that I'm off? Do you think that technology is being deployed and that our federal government and judicial systems are behind the times and that they're always slow to adapt and adopt, and that they're not deploying enough resources in order to be able to stop these crimes and these scammers from happening in the first place? Or do you think that it's the people's responsibility personally as to whether or not they are using these things properly and they're educating themselves? But how can you when you don't know what you don't know, when you operate out of ignorance? I want to know what you guys think. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. And then again, I'm looking forward to reading y'all comments. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to talk to you later. Peace.